Greetings, family. This is Lee. Hey, greetings, V. Lovely to see you, sis. This is Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach. Oh, hearts. I'm getting hearts straight away in that love life. My name is Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach, best-selling author, speaker, nutritionist, life coach, live blood analyst, on a mission to help 100,000 Black women to eat for health, think for happiness, and live in harmony, or what I call becoming naturally you. Thank you so much for joining me here, Wagwan, on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much. Today we're going to be talking briefly, I hope, about how our emotions affect our womb health and our periods. We're going to be reading today, so I'm going to be reading you some quotes from some books. Now, this is actually a huge subject, and there's so many different ways that you can look at it from. So I'm going to focus on 3 of the emotions that are connected with womb health challenges, especially long, heavy, painful periods, fibroids, those types of things. And we're going to be looking at 3 authors and what they have to say about it as well. Before I go any further, if you haven't already seen the new online program that I've created called How to Be a Happy, Healthy Mama Who Does It All, then you can find out more about that on my website, thenaturallyyoucoach.com/shop, or you can go to subscribepage.com/happy, healthy mama, M-A-M-A, mama, and you'll be able to get a discount code to get 100% discount on that program. So basically you're getting it for free, or you can go to my website, naturallyyoucoach.com/free stuff or freebies, and you'll be able to find the discount code or the link for you to get the discount code for that course. It's a 5-part video mini-series, and as it says on the tin, it's to help you to become a happy, healthy mama who does it all, and most importantly, who does it all on your own terms. Because again, those terms, happy and healthy and doing it all, are so personalized to each of us. But there is a simple way for us to be able to increase our happiness, increase our health, and make ourselves feel like we're not missing out on anything, and we are doing everything that we want to do to have a happy, healthy life. So it's, again, a 5-part mini video series, and it's available completely free. Even if you don't get the discount code, then it's very reasonable, very affordable price so that all mothers can access it. And that whole program is a taster of what you can expect in Greetings, lovely people. Thank you for joining me on Instagram and Facebook. That course, the free course, is a taster of what you can expect in the longer, fuller Black Mama Circle 9-week natural health and personal development program that's been postponed. It was going to be starting this Thursday, but I've pushed it back to the 14th of May because there's a whole new project that I'm working on that's going to be added to that program to make it even more valuable to you Black mothers out there. So if you want to join, thank you for everyone who has joined the Black Mama Circles so far. If you want to join us in our motherhood, then, the Black Mama Circle is open to mothers who Black women who already have children, or Black women who want to have children in the future. It doesn't matter what age your children are. It doesn't matter if you've got babies or if you're a mother to older children. The course is still applicable to you. And we already have a motherhood of about 40 mothers, 40 Black mothers who are part of the motherhood, the Black motherhood that you're going to be joining into. And you can find out more about that program at blackmamacircle.com. or thenaturallyyoucoach.com/Black Mama Circle. So today we're going to be talking about how your emotions affect your health. Now, we're all very aware of how our foods, how our diet affects our health. You know, we've spoken about this a lot. Most people are aware of the fact that, you can greetings. Thank you for joining me. Most people are aware of the things like iron deficiency. And the thing with iron deficiency can be caused by you having a challenging period, because you've got a heavy, long, painful period, or mainly a heavy, long period can create an iron deficiency in you. But the situation can be the other way around as well, which is that if you have an iron deficiency, that can actually trigger some of the challenges that you have with your womb health in general. Most people are aware of the benefits of adding magnesium to your life and having Epsom salt baths and those types of things, and using magnesium sprays on your skin around your cycle, because the lack of magnesium can affect your muscle tone, your muscle development. It can increase the cramps and the pains that you already have during your cycle. Greetings, thank you for joining me, lovely people, on Instagram. Most people are aware of those things. Most people know that too much sugar in your diet is going to give you more womb health problems than you normally would have. Most people are aware of things like unhealthy fats, the fact that healthy fats are healthy for you and they have a beneficial effect on your cycle as well. And most people are also aware that if you have too many unhealthy fats, that can have a negative impact on your cycle as well. Even lifestyle, most people, and we did a whole talk on that. If you go back and look on my YouTube channel, on my blog, or on my Facebook page, the videos there, most people are aware of the fact that if you sit down for long periods of time, that can have an impact on your womb health. And again, I did a whole video on that the other day, how sitting all day can negatively affect your periods and your womb health. It creates stagnation, poor circulation, it weakens your muscles, and lack of exercise can also reduce your mood and have an effect on your moods as well. And that has an impact on your womb health. So, sorry, what is your Instagram handle, please? I want to share. Oh, thank you so much. So my Instagram handle is Naturally You Coach. Thank you so much for that, Grace. I appreciate you on Facebook. So most people are aware again of how food can affect us, and the link between food and our health is more commonplace, it's more acceptable. The link between lack of exercise or increase of exercise and our health is understandable, and it's something that people can kind of put together in their mind. Most people are even aware of the fact that if you drink too much alcohol, if you smoke cigarettes, and if you drink too much coffee, or you're drinking coffee regularly, that all of those things can have a really negative impact on your health as well. Those kind of things, again, it's kind of easy for the mind to put those two things together. But emotions can have a significant impact on your health as well. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you for sharing that on Instagram as well. Your emotions can have a significant impact on your womb health as well. And as women, we hold a lot of our emotions in our womb. And when I say that, I know it can, again, feel like it's a bit difficult I know. I know you need your coffee, sis, but that's, what can I say? Caffeine just has a negative impact on our womb health. But yeah, when I say that women hold a lot of our emotions in our womb, and when we hold on to a lot of negative emotions, it can affect our womb health. A lot of people can, some people can't really grasp that concept, but what we are very comfortable with, because we've experienced it, is things like fear inducing you to throw up because you're so scared. Most people, if you've done any research into history, or you may have learned in school that some of the soldiers on the front line of war, some of them were so scared they would just release, bowels would open, urine would come out, and they would throw up as well, just because they were so feared to go into battle and hurt other people. Fear can trigger those kind of things. Most people are aware of, car sickness, our body throwing up when our body sensors aren't all lined up and our body thinks something's wrong, and it will evacuate our stomach by making us throw up. Car sickness. We're aware of having a nervous stomach, so not just scared, but feeling nervous, feeling anxious. And, we know that there is a link there between our gut and our emotions. And in the same way, there is a definite link between our emotions and our womb health as well, because I'm a natural health practitioner. So we very much respect the interconnectedness of our body, and I do my best to work on a holistic level. So I understand that there is a big link. Greetings, thank you everyone who's joining me on Instagram. I'm aware of, and I've seen the link between our emotions, our moods, with all areas of our body. Even on a physical level, the fact that you might have a pain in your in your right shoulder, and it's actually something down on your left hip that's causing it. And if you know the functional aspect of our body, and the fact that, you know, if you're slightly misaligned on one side of your body, because most of us know we've got one leg that's a bit longer than the other, that slight misalignment can cause problems all the way up your neck and your joints and all the, like, no part of our body is not affected when another part of our body is negatively affected. There is that interconnectedness, and we see it more and more. And the medical community does, the orthodox medical community, which is what a lot of us are familiar with, and that's where a lot of us get our knowledge of how the body works and how health works from, does try to kind of separate the different parts of our body. So if you, my sister used to work on a switchboard in a hospital, and she said they break the human body up into like 70 different departments. Well, not exactly 70, but, you know, there's the ear, nose and throat department, there's rheumatology, there's, you know, reproductive health, there's osteopathy, the osteopathic department, the mental health department, the pediatrics, like everything is broken up. You know, there's just one whole department for children, in fact. But you know, there's the diabetic clinic, the pain clinic, the breast care clinic. There's, you know, our body kind of gets broken up. And whilst I'm fully in favor of specializing and all those types of things, it is easy to kind of see your body as being disconnected from everything else. So even things that are considered to be purely mental health challenges, things like depression and anxiety, there's so much research that's come out recently, not recently, in fact, for decades, that showed that a lot of the things that we're eating and the chemicals that are put in our food can interfere with the chemistry of our brain and create the symptoms that are similar to depression and anxiety and all those types of things. So there is a big link between what's happening with our physical body and our mental and emotional, but also, you know, our mental and emotional affecting our physical body as well. So if you have womb challenges, and I work with a lot of sisters who have got, thank you. I work with a lot of sisters who have got womb health challenges, because that's one of the areas that I have a lot of interest in. And I really want to help sisters with their womb health, pregnancy health, digestive health and wellness. All of those things are really fascinating to me. And again, I know that a lot of our sisters are suffering with those things and not having access to the natural health routes, and are being told that, you know, it's only surgery or medication that's available. So you know, that's one of the areas that I do focus on a lot. And yeah, a lot of sisters will kind of come to me with a lot of womb health challenges, and not all, but some will say, and some will genuinely say, that they've tried everything and nothing's working. And some will say, oh yeah, I've tried everything and nothing's working. And they've, you know, it's one of those things where, have you really tried raw food? Yeah, you know, I had a smoothie like every day. I bought those innocent smoothies from the supermarket and I had one every day and it didn't really do anything. But did you have like salads, and did you have a whole day where you only ate raw food, and did you have multiple days where you just ate raw food? Oh, no, didn't do that. So, you know, a lot of people say they've tried everything, but when you like delve a bit deeper, they've maybe only tried it to a certain degree, or they haven't had a lot of information as to how to really implement it. Because when people say they've tried raw food, hardly any of them have actually even spent one day fully raw. They've just added more raw food to their life. And adding more raw food to your life can definitely give you benefits, but it's nowhere near the same thing as going on like a 9-day raw food diet, 100% raw food diet. Some people say they've tried detoxing and cleansing, and what they've really done is just been given some detoxing herbs that gave them a washout. They had some Cersei tea or some quassia chips or Jamaican dogwood or some wormwood. They haven't actually done like a, you know, a full cleanse. However, there are some clients I've worked with who have genuinely done so many different things and committed to doing those things and have a really clean lifestyle, but still have those challenges of womb health challenges. And, you know, it's always a little bit baffling, almost confusing. What is going on? And the work that I do is honestly not, I don't work from a perspective of I'm a 100% expert on every single aspect of health. Because even if I was, every individual person that comes to me is still an individual person. And I would never be an expert on each individual person. So anytime someone does present to me, it is a case of me using all the information that they give me, plus using all the information that I gather from the self-testing that I get them to do, the questionnaires that they fill out, live blood analysis that we do, and all those other things, and putting things together. And when we start working, some people have been very focused on just working on the physical. And it's when we take that other direction, and we're like, okay, you've done all the physical stuff, you're eating well, exercising, deep breathing, doing all that good stuff. Let's look at this situation from another vantage point. That is, let's look at your emotions. Let's look at your mental health and wellness and how that could be impacting the results that you're getting, because everything is complementary, which is why when I'm working with clients, the 3 areas that I help clients with is eating for health, because as a nutritionist, that's like where I see everything starts and ends with nutrition. So it's eating for health, but then it's also thinking for happiness, because you can have the best diet, but if your mindset is sabotaging the success of it, then you're just not going to feel the benefits of it. Or if you're constantly telling yourself, oh, this diet isn't going to work, or I'm going to fall off anyway, or this is too hard, it's too expensive, or, you know, maybe I shouldn't be spending this much money on myself, or, you know, this is becoming inconvenient for me to do this, I should just be focusing on my work, on my family. When you're letting all those negative thoughts ride through, it's going to have an impact on how successful you are with all the physical things that you're doing. And then living in harmony is adding all of the lifestyle changes that are specifically necessary for you to create health and wellness. So it's, you know, not just about eating really well, but if you're having a great diet, but you have no exercise, or you're exercising brilliantly, but you pay no attention to your diet, then again, there's a bit of a disconnect. So working in all 3 areas, eating for health, thinking for happiness, and living in harmony, that's where you get more of success than if you were to just isolate and work on one of them. Having said all of that, again, there are sisters who do seem to be focusing on their health and wellness through their diet and through their lifestyle. Again, they're, you know, exercising and doing deep breathing and having magnesium baths and saunas and all these kind of things, and getting massages and reflexology, as well as having a brilliant diet, and they still have those challenges. And that's when, again, there's an opportunity for you to look at the mental and emotional and how they could be impacting the success that you're getting as well. So again, like I said, there are so many different ways that you can look at this from, because obviously the mental and emotional life is big, and the challenges that come with it are vast as well. But there are 3 common emotions that are linked with womb health challenges. The first one is a lack of attention and support. And this comes from a long history of women not being respected in the Western cultures. Because again, in Black cultures, in a lot of other cultures and races, the women had a lot more support. They were seen more as equal. There was a lot more respect, and you know, there wasn't the misogyny that exists in this Western world. But in this Western world, which a lot of us have grown up in, there is this thing about, you know, women being seen and not heard, not just children, but women being seen and not heard. You know, men not really understanding much about women. And that includes a lot of the male doctors that a lot of women would present their challenges to. There was, up until a certain point, there was so little written about the female reproductive system, because again, it was mainly male doctors who were doing the research, or male researchers and scientists that were doing research into human biology, and they just didn't think there was much point in studying us. Ridiculous. But anyway, which is why there was so little literature for doctors to go on. So when women were presenting to them, they just didn't really know what to do with women and women's health. So there is that long culture of don't really talk about it. In fact, my sisters told me a really challenging story about a lady who was speaking about her cycle and to her mother, and her son was in the car as well. Her brother was in the car as well. Sorry, the lady who was speaking about her period, saying that she just started her period, she said it in the car while her brother was there as well. And her mother got really upset with her because she spoke about her period in front of her son. And obviously that messaging, that subliminal and obviously very obvious messaging that don't talk about your period, don't talk about your what you naturally go through as a woman in front of men, because it seemed to be shameful and dirty, is something that's perpetuated throughout our whole existence. In the same way, we may not have lived through the time of slavery, but a lot of us are still affected by it on a genetic level. We may not have ever even heard anyone say that it's dirty or nasty or it's unclean to be on your cycle and to be on your period and to bleed and do this natural function. but we still get affected by it, sometimes just by the way that other people treat us because of their perceptions of it. So there is the lack of attention and support that has a contributing factor to our womb health. There's now there's another specific emotion around the feeling of abandonment by a significant male figure in your life, and how that has been linked to womb health challenges. And again, a lot of sisters that I've spoken to, when we're talking about, their womb health, and we speak about the diet and we speak about the lifestyle, and then I say to them, what is one of your challenges? And they'll say, oh, I've got fibroids, really long, heavy, painful periods, and cysts. And those three in particular, I've found personally anyway. And I'll mention, do you feel that at any point in your life you have had an abandonment from a significant male figure in your life? And there is such a high rate of sisters who almost immediately acknowledge that that's a reality in their life. And equally, there are a lot of sisters who have had quite supportive relationships with the men in their life who don't present with as many womb health challenges. And again, this is not any long, big term research. This is just what I've noted. And it reinforced what it is that I have learned through my studies. And there's a lady called Louise Hay who has a whole book, this book, or the late Louise Hay, shall I say, who has this book, which is You Can Heal Your Life. And in this book, she basically, and a lot of people probably are very familiar with the book, You Can Heal Your Life, but she basically feels that and says that, and, there's a lot of people who have worked with this since she's written the book, that every time you have a physical ailment, there's an emotion linked to it, a negative emotion that's linked to it. And if you start by addressing, or if you, as well as doing the physical work, you address that negative thought or feeling, it can help you get more success with the physical work that you're doing. And you can't just do one. You can very rarely just do one. You can very rarely just deal with what she calls the probable cause, and then changing your thoughts and feelings around that probable cause without doing the physical work. But if you do the physical work without addressing the possible emotion that's attached to it, again, you may not get as much success. So with fibroid tumors specifically, the probable cause emotionally that she has for it in the book is that you're nursing a hurt from a partner or a blow to your feminine ego. When it comes to dysmenorrhea, which is painful periods, she says anger at self or hatred of your body or of women, and menstrual problems in general. She says it's rejection of one's femininity, guilt, fear, and belief that the genitals are sinful or dirty. So again, these are emotions or beliefs, negative beliefs, that she feels have got a contributing factor to the physical challenges that we have. And she has she's got a probable cause for so many different illnesses. And again, whilst I don't use this as the core of my practice, I do always refer to this in the same way I look at herbal medicine and iridology and look at your skin and your tongue and all these kind of things. And very often there is a link. There's very often a link between emotions around different parts of the body and health challenges certain sisters have. So number one, again, there's that feeling of having a lack of attention and support that can be linked to womb health challenges. So I'm not sure if you've heard of a lady called Marilyn Grenville. So there's a lady called Marilyn, this is a very well-worn book. There's a lady called Marilyn Glenville, and she has a book called Overcoming PMS. She works a lot with women's health as well, especially hormones. And in her book, she speaks about the fact that placebos have a really high success rate when it comes to PMS. Now, bear in mind, there's a lot of research that's been done, or a lot of researchers have purported that PMS is one of those health conditions that's all in your mind, and it doesn't actually have a lot of physical triggers. I don't believe that's 100% true at all. Again, more holistically, I do truly believe that the mental health, our emotions, our moods, and the things we're doing physically and with our lifestyle and with our diet all create that perfect storm for disease to take hold and manifest itself. But anyway, she basically speaks about the fact in her book. So I'm reading from Overcoming PMS the Natural Way. And we are on page 58. So she was basically saying, as I mentioned in the introduction of the book, one of the most interesting aspects of PMS research, because again, there's people researching PMS all the time. Unfortunately, most of the research is to create more drugs. But anyway, one of the most interesting aspects of the PMS research is that there's an enormously high placebo effect. That what this means is that people taking dummy tablets rather than the drug or anything else often experience relief from symptoms. And there are always some people in any study who will respond to the placebo, but in cases of PMS, it's 94% of the participants. So sometimes better results are obtained from the placebo than the medication that's being tested. Because of the placebo effect, some say that PMS is all in the mind and doesn't really exist as a physical condition, but researchers have suggested that the placebo effect is important and should be studied in some detail to understand how and why it's occurring. So again, just so for those that don't know, when a new drug comes onto the market, the way that drugs are tested and sometimes other things are tested is that you will give one group the actual drug. The group would obviously have to consist of the people who this particular drug is going to be used to help treat, they say, get rid of the symptoms of. So they'll give one half of the group the actual drug, and then they'll give another half of the group or a percentage of the group a dummy drug. And it's normally a sugar pill. It's normally just a pill made of flour and sugar. And they'll test the results. And what should be happening is the group that are getting the dummy pill shouldn't be getting any results. And then the group that are taking the actual medical, the medicine that's being tested should be getting results. So it's a control measure. It's the placebo drugs are given to the other group as a control measure, so we can see whether the results that everyone are getting are really due to the drug, or would everyone have got the same results anyway. And what they're saying is that when women are given the placebo, when they're given just a sugar pill, they're still getting benefits from it, and sometimes they're getting more benefits from the sugar pill than the people who are actually taking the real drug that's meant to be getting tested. So it says, for instance, one way of looking at the phenomenon of sisters respond, or women responding to the placebo more than the actual drug sometimes, is that when these women have been given the opportunity to talk and have their symptoms taken seriously, these will improve whether they take the drug or a placebo. Too often, symptoms are dismissed out of hand, and women may simply respond better to a different approach. And again, a lot of sisters that I work with, a lot of people I work with in general, will literally say to me, I go to the doctors, they're with me for 2 minutes. I quickly tell them what's wrong. They don't have time for us to have a conversation about it. They just want to quickly offer me some drugs or some procedures, or they send samples off for testing, and then I don't really have any communication with them, or they quickly dismiss what I think it is and tell me that it's something else. Or when the results come back saying, I don't have this condition, and they say, well, there's nothing wrong with you. We can't see anything wrong with you. And then I'm trying to tell them, no, but there is something wrong with me. And I just get dismissed. So many sisters, so many people in general have that experience at the doctors, where they just are not given enough time to have a conversation and really share. And the person that they're meant to be sharing with, which is the GPs, they just don't always, they're not trained in talking and communicating and nurturing. And don't get me wrong, some GPs are amazing. Some of them are very caring, and you can tell that they do have a genuine concern. And even though they're pressed for time, they do make time for their clients and their patients. But not all GPs are in that situation, especially if you think that your condition is something that the medical community has not been trained in. If you think your condition is due to, food deficiency, vitamin and mineral deficiencies, allergies, those things are not pushed and really taught to the medical community. And again, if it's a sister, a woman talking about her womb health challenges with a male doctor, maybe if it's a male doctor who's a bit older, maybe if it's a male doctor from a different culture, again, all of these things are taken into consideration, and all of these things have been found to be reasons why people don't feel as comfortable going to their doctors and speaking about what the challenges that they're having, because they're just not getting a kind response or a caring response from a profession that's meant to be caring for them. Men doctors can be really bad at understanding the pain we're going through. And again, thank you so much for that comment, sis. And again, it became news. It was on the news the other day that Black women, when we are experiencing health challenges and we're experiencing pain, doctors do not feel that Black women are feeling the same level of pain as everyone else. So we will get offered pain medication less. We'll be responded to more slowly. So a sister can say, I'm in pain. I feel this pain here. I don't feel well. Something doesn't feel right. And they'll tell the doctors or the nurses, and they will not be attended to for such a long period of time. And unfortunately, it's resulting in sisters literally losing their life because they are sitting in hospital beds waiting for scans or tests or something like that to happen, and they don't happen because the doctors are like, oh no, they'll be all right. Basically, that's what they're saying. Oh no, we'll be all right. And again, the brother Leon Marshall, who did the Black Women's Health event, the Hidden Science of Black Women's Health, that we did back in February, his whole talk was talking about why Black women are dying more in childbirth than any other race. And that is a large part to do with it, is because we're not being listened to and we're not being understood. So again, that's why the placebo effect seems to be so, and again, the placebo effect seems to be so effective. And I'm not saying that it is all in our head and that you could just give us some sugar pill and it will make everything better. But that link can't be ignored. That the placebo effect is a brilliant tool that can really show, it can show whether a drug is really working, whether the people would have got a result without taking these harmful drugs in the first place. But it really does speak to when someone feels like you're listening to them and they feel like you're actually giving them something because you feel it's going to help them. It has an emotional impact on that person. And just that feeling of, oh, I've been looked after, oh, this person cares about me, or this thing is going to bring me happiness. All of those things can have an impact on your actual health, sometimes more so than the active ingredient in whatever it is that you're taking or being offered. The other interesting link that I found when I was writing my book. So this is my book, which is 30 Days to Better Periods and Womb Health Naturally. And sorry, Facebook, we've just lost Facebook, darlings. Okay, sorry, so let me just take this down. So when I was doing research for my book, I found out, greetings. Metformic acid. Oh yeah, mefenamic acid, I think it's called. Yeah, mefenamic acid, which was useless. Yeah, I understand, sis. So a lot of sisters, even when they do manage to get through to their doctor and explain, I am in pain, I'm bleeding far too much, this is too much for me, there's normally just a standard repertoire, a small and standard repertoire of medications that the doctor will give. And most of them, unfortunately, don't really have a huge impact. But again, when I was doing research into my book, there was another researcher. This time it was a female researcher, which always makes me trust it a little bit more. Do you love that book as well? Lovely. So yeah, another researcher, and she also said, sorry, greetings, is your book on Amazon? Unfortunately, this one is not on Amazon yet, but my other two books, Becoming Naturally You and Leah's Raw Food Feast, those two are. This one hasn't gone up on there yet. This is available on my website, thenaturallyyoucoach.com/shop. So you can see thenaturallyyoucoach.com. It's all backwards, isn't it? Oh, call blimey. But yeah, it's available on my website, sis. So again, when I was doing this research, there was a lady, a doctor, and she's always said that she doesn't feel that PMS challenges and womb health challenges are anything more than pressure felt by women. So on page 43, it says women are being, so this is coming from a female researcher. She said women are being sold the idea that their bodies are biologically faulty and they need medication for PMS, postnatal depression, and menopausal outbursts, when in fact the pressures of being superwoman are more likely to be to blame, says leading expert. So the professor of women's health and psychology at the University of Western Sydney, Jane Ussher, and it's Ussher, Jane Ussher, has been researching the issue for 20 years and says that women are being controlled by medical practices which position their unhappiness as a biochemical condition. So she's basically saying women are just unhappy and it's being medicalized. It's being medicalized in the same way. And some people feel that about even like things like depression, because feeling really, and I know this, you know, we're not going to go into the whole concept of depression, but there are a lot of natural health consultants who work with people who have been diagnosed for depression and have been medicalized with very strong pharmaceutical drugs. And when they start working in a more natural capacity, these patients start working in a more natural capacity. It was just that they didn't have the tools to manage their emotions when they had dips in their emotions. So instead of someone teaching them emotional intelligence, instead of someone giving them things that can help reduce their anxiety and help stabilize their brain chemistry naturally, they were just medicalized. And that's what this lady is saying. That's what Jane Ussher is saying, is that we've got unhappinesses and mental emotional challenges, and they're just being turned into a biochemical condition. And that makes it a lot easier, because if there's a biochemical condition, you don't need to talk to anyone. You don't need to work out how someone's feeling. You don't need to track anything. You don't need to follow up with anyone. You just need to give some drugs. Drugs make a lot more money than journaling. So, and she continues to say, I would argue that PMS and PMD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, are essentially a form of repressed rage women feel rather than a medical illness. Our research has shown that their distress often stems from women trying to do too much for everyone else except themselves. And again, this is one of the things that I touch on the free course that I've just created called How to Be a Happy, Healthy Mama Who Does It All, which you can find on my website, thenaturallyyoucoach.com/shop. And she continues to say the tags premenstrual syndrome, prenatal depression or PND, and menopause have been catch-all diagnostic categories that attribute women's unhappiness to their reproductive bodies and legitimize medical management of their condition, says Professor Ussher. The problem with this view is that it ignores the fact that female unhappiness is often an understandable response to the realities of women's lives. She then goes on to say that, Professor Ussher draws on in-depth interviews with British and Australian women and our view that women's premenstrual, postnatal and menopausal distress or anger is often connected with the way women feel compelled to be the good wife, good mother, and emotional nurturer of others. So, again, this is a researcher that's done 20 years of research into it. And again, I don't solely feel that women's womb health challenges are solely to do with their mental and emotional health, but I definitely think they're a contributing factor that it would benefit women who are having womb health challenges to explore. So again, if you've done all the work with, you're taking all the herbs and you're drinking a lot of water and you've removed all the things that could be challenging or significantly reduce things like alcohol and smoking cigarettes and caffeine, you've significantly reduced all of those, you're getting some exercise, you're getting vitamin D, you're going outside, getting fresh air, you're doing all of those things and you still have womb health challenges, then these three things could have an impact. Again, feeling of a lack of support or attention, not being able to express yourself and talk about the challenges that you're having, that could be a contributing factor emotionally. Again, that feeling of abandonment from a significant male figure in your life could also be a contributing factor. The feeling that, or the belief that your genitals and your period and talking about your menstrual cycle and sanitary towels and pads and tampons and all of those kind of things are sinful and dirty, because we know that that is something that's included in a lot of the religious texts that women were put aside and said to be unclean when they were during their menstrual cycle. All of that is going to have a very ingrained effect on us. And again, we may never have even read any of those passages in the Bible or the Quran to even know that they exist, for us to consciously comprehend that there's something unclean about us when we're when we are in that time. But it could be how other people treat us who have had that teaching that would make us feel that it's not something we should talk about. We should hide our tampons, we should hide our sanitary towels. We should get a, black plastic bag to carry our stuff home with. We should, sneak our feminine hygiene products to the bottom of our basket so that everyone can't see we're buying tampons and pads, like all of those and we have a lot of those messages that are just very subconsciously put onto us, and they could be contributing to how we feel about our bodies, how we feel about our womb, and those can manifest into physical challenges in the same way when we're having nervousness and anxiety and fear. All of those things can translate to very real digestive health challenges. Now, and again, like Professor Jane Ussher was talking about in this part from my book, where she feels that one of the other feelings that could be associated with womb health challenges is that feeling of overwhelm for trying to live up to very high and sometimes unrealistic standards of being a perfect wife and mother and nurturer. Now, if you do feel that you have some level of emotion of any of the ones that I just mentioned, or you do feel that you just have emotions that are just not beneficial, you do have mental and emotional challenges, negative thoughts and feelings about yourself as a woman, about your health, about your life, then 3 things that you can do to start to address those things is journaling. And again, whether you choose to get some pieces of paper to journal on, or a cheap notebook from the pound store, or you get a nice hardback journal like the one that I just released the other day, Health, Happiness and Harmony, or any of the other beautiful journals that are out there. Journaling is an opportunity for you to release your emotions and thoughts and feelings and questions and fears into a safe space that can help to remove them from you physically. And it's actually seen as a form of therapy. There is actually the Center for Journaling Therapy, which is an actual institution that researches the impact of journaling on our physical and mental health and our emotional health as well. So journaling is one thing that you can get into to just ask yourself some questions about this. How do I feel about my body? How do I feel about my vaginal health? How do I feel about my vagina, my womb? How do I feel about my breasts? How do I feel about the fact that I have heavy periods? How do I feel about the last time I went to the doctors? Do I feel any shame about my body? Could it be possible that I have been let down by a significant male figure and the energy from that I haven't let go of? And is it possible that the fact that I haven't let go of that energy, that it could be having an impact on my health? And just write and ask yourself questions and let the thoughts flow and let the feelings flow. And all of that flow is such an amazing release for you that can have, again, a significant impact, not just on your mental and emotional health, but on your womb health as well. So I strongly believe that young girls and teenagers should be prepared so that they would pay attention to their food intake. Additional nutrition and remedy through fitness would seriously reduce in I think we were going to say generation, or 2. I 100% agree, sis. Definitely 100% agree. All parts of the exposure. Yes, agreed, sis. Thank you. Clean the liver and reduce the depression. So again, liver health is something that's so key to, so again, that's moving more onto the physical things that we can do. But yeah, liver health is so key to our physical health, especially our womb health. And yes, it definitely is. I've definitely also heard that there's a link and seen the link between the mental and emotional challenges of depression and anxiety with the health and wellness of our womb. And our womb is also famously attributed to feelings of anger and frustration and short temper as well. And when the liver is cleansed and cleared, then those symptoms do seem to reduce themselves. So thank you for that as well. Darlings. Sorry. Okay, just looking at some more of these comments. Thank you so much for your comments. Lovely people coming through. Okay. Thank you for joining me, and everyone else who has come in and joined me. Thank you for your time today. So again, journaling is one of them. And then, life coaching, finding a life coach who has any experience, in fact, not even definitely a life coach that has experience in womb health challenges or anything like that, but just finding a womb health that comes recommended and that you trust and that you feel can help you through this stage, is also something that you can do, because it can sometimes be a bit challenging to ask ourselves those challenging questions, because it's very easy to just write the challenging question down and then never answer it. But when you're working with a life coach who's helping you to focus on the future, they will be there with you to ask those questions, ask you questions that you maybe never even considered asking yourself, and then helping to support you to get the answers out so that you can work with some of the challenges that are underlying. Because again, a lot of us are functioning from a space of, or we're functioning based on negative beliefs that we have, and we're not even fully aware that we have those negative beliefs. But they're very much affecting how we think, live, and deal with life. Working with a good life coach, and sometimes even with a counselor, can help identify those challenges or those mindsets within you, and then you can actually do something about them. But awareness and acknowledgement is obviously the first step to it. And then again, counseling is also useful as well. There are a lot of very skilled counselors who can also help you to understand the thoughts and feelings that you're having, and help you again draw out of you some of the challenges that you maybe didn't recognize, so that you can do something about them as well. But again, acknowledgement is the first step to even making any of these changes. And again, maybe, I know that I didn't really, until I started really studying this subject, I didn't really have a real true understanding of just how important it was for women in general to have some kind of acknowledgement of the thoughts and feelings that they're having, because of the link that was there. So thank you so much, everyone who has been commenting and sharing. Sorry if I haven't got to all of your comments. I'm just trying to have a look through them now, as we are going to be wrapping up soon. Amazing information. I wish many sisters and brothers were able to follow this great live. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I was prescribed tranexamic acid and didn't work at all. And yeah, unfortunately, so many sisters have been, those two acids, the mefenamic acid and the tranexamic acid, those two acids, those two drugs have been prescribed to so many sisters, and they don't actually work. And just for anyone who's hasn't heard of those drugs, there are two drugs that are regularly recommended to sisters who have heavy or painful or long periods. And they are very strong drugs. And sometimes they do work, but not always. One of them is a drug that's literally given to reduce heavy and prolonged bleeding. So someone that's just had a road traffic accident and is profusely bleeding, they'll give them that drug, and it constricts the blood vessels so it can stop the bleeding. And that, it should work technically. In theory, it should work when a sister's having a heavy, long, painful period, but it doesn't address the cause of that heavy, painful period, which is why it can sometimes initially have some impact, but then slowly that impact tapers off. And while you're still taking that tranexamic acid or mefenamic acid, both of them are known to basically tear up your digestive system and cause so many digestive challenges. And if our digestive system's torn up, then all the natural supplements and all the healthy foods and all those kind of things that we may end up deciding to take, our body's going to struggle to get the nutrients out of them, because our digestive system's been so badly damaged by the pharmaceutical drugs that we've been taking, which is why detoxing and cleansing is very important, and water is very important, and raw foods are very important to help to heal our guts, so anything we are taking in, we can really get the benefit and the nutrients from them. Now, in the Black Mama Circle 9-week program that I spoke about at the beginning, and I have been speaking about for weeks, on week 3 of that 9-week program, we're going to be specifically focusing on feminine body care. So we're going to be looking at the health of our breasts, vagina, and womb, because those are 3 areas of our body that are unique to us as women. But unfortunately, we only normally pay attention to them when something goes wrong, or when it's to nourish another being or to create pleasure. So we're going to look at ways that we can naturally maintain those areas of our body to prevent disease and illness setting in, because again, as Black mothers and Black women, breast care challenges, womb care challenges, and vaginal health challenges are things that we unfortunately suffer from more than other races. And then in week 8, we're going to be looking at Boys to Men, which is where we are looking at how our relationship with the significant males in our life could be impacting our health. And as we spoke about in this live, there's a lot of researchers who have already made that link, and knowing that there is a link there, how we communicate and with the significant male figures in our life and our womb health. On week 8, we're going to be looking at how we can actually put some work into to do something about it. So I hope you found this live useful. Thank you so much for everyone who has come in. I really appreciate all the comments and the likes for everyone. Thank you so much, Sugar Babes. Thank you so much, thank you, Venetia. Thank you, everyone thank you, Fran. Thank you so much. Tilly, thank you for joining us. Mama's Africa, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I'm going to be live again on probably on Wednesday. Compassion among us so we can relate to each other. Yes, I agree that it's so important that we have compassion among ourselves so we can relate to each other. Thank you so much for all the hearts and all the love. So again, today, if you are just logging in right now and joining us right now, this whole live, we have been speaking about our emotions and how our emotions affect our womb health. So this is going to be available on replay here for the next 24 hours. And then the recording will be available on YouTube and on my blog shortly. So again, please do come and check out the work that I do on my website, thenaturallyyoucoach.com. If you want to get your hands on the brand new program that I created called How to Be a Happy, Healthy Mama Who Does It All, you can find out information about that course. It's a 5-part video mini-series at thenaturallyyoucoach.com/shop. And if you go to the freebies page or the free stuff page on my website, then you can actually go and sign up to get a 100% discount code on that program, so you get the whole program completely free. And then in the next 2.5 weeks or so, on the 14th of May, we are going to be launching the Black Mama Circle, which again is a 9-week natural health and personal development program specifically for Black mothers. And in week 3, again, that's the program that I was talking about just now, where in week 3, we're going to be focusing on feminine body care. And on week 8, we're looking at our relationship with significant males in our lives. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for putting the link to the website there as well, sis. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Take care and stay healthy.